This is Will Norman with ThriftyAV. Today I'm in Wichita Falls, thrift shopping, audio and video, electronics, and multimedia. As usual, I'm going to shoot on my phone to keep a low profile. And today I'm also going to try out my IDV wearable camera, so we'll see how this does. Let's see what Goodwill at Southwest Parkway has to offer. If my channel was Thrifty exercise gear, I would have struck gold at this Goodwill. Some retro gamers prefer CRT televisions, and this store had them, but I hope you don't need a remote. I've been looking for a 4-head hi-fi VCR. This is a Panasonic DVD-VCR combo unit that fits the bill. I like to power up electronics in the store, so I plugged it in at the testing station and it lit up. This JVC was also 4-head hi-fi and also no remote. At $4, I would have picked it up if it had a remote. They had several DVD players with no remotes, and I considered this portable CD stereo for $5, but ended up passing on it. They had a couple of RF modulators useful for old TVs. One was $4, the other was $3. Hidden in the clutter was this PlayStation 2 with no controllers, cables, or accessories for $10. I went ahead and left it on the shelf. I browsed the CDs but didn't find any keepers. So all I picked up from Goodwill on Southwest Parkway was this DVD VCR combo unit. Next up, Salvation Army Thrift Store at 403 7th Street. First stop was the media rack, where I found this 3-pack of Sertron cassette tapes. I've never heard of this brand, but I'm a sucker for sealed cassettes. I also found a 2-pack of Sony blank tapes. Score! You never know how dirty a used head cleaning cassette is, so I passed on this one. Browsing the music CDs, I found this sealed Halloween CD. October is coming soon, after all. And here's another Halloween CD.
Oh no!
Too bad. Karaoke discs are fun, so I'll grab this title, and this one too. And here's some Reba I don't already own. I also picked up Three Dog Night, Roger Whittaker, George Strait, and Neil Diamond for 49 cents each. There was nothing of interest in the 8-tracks or the VHS tapes. I always need storage for CDs, and this one is green tagged. Half price makes it $2. These are wall mount rails for a TV, but it's missing some of the other mounting hardware. This looks fun. It looks like an old style telephone handset but plugs into modern phones. They had some Blu-ray players with no remote, a Radio Shack cassette rewinder in the box. If you want to run multimedia through the wall, a specialized outlet like this one would come in handy. Browsing the vinyl, I found the sealed Dion record, Dance Music, from 1989. This Genie 44 organ looks pretty cool and is priced right at $20, but I was in a compact car and there's no way I was going to fit this in. Maybe it's still there if you are interested. Here's what I salvaged from the Salvation Army Thrift Store. Next up, Alley Cat at 1505 Lamar. This is an indoor flea market, an unair-conditioned indoor flea market. I found a booth with a decent vinyl selection, all 25% off. Here's a Telly Savalas album. I didn't know that Kojak sang. Here's some Hoyt Axton that I will add to my collection. This Midnight Flyer album was released on Swan Song Records, Led Zeppelin's label, so I picked it up. At another booth, I found this Outfield CD that's not in my collection, so I grabbed it. I found Toto Fahrenheit in the same bin, grabbed it too. I also found some stereo gear, all priced a little too high. This radio has shortwave band, but it's also too high. In fact, all the stereo gear I found here was high priced. Upstairs, I found more vinyl, thousands of records warping in the summer heat, but not a bargain in sight. Here's what I grabbed from Alley Cat. Next up was Heritage Antiques, right next door to Alley Cat. Being an antique store, the prices were marked accordingly. I found some vinyl, but the prices were higher than I wanted to pay. More interesting were some old radios I found. This old Panasonic looks cool. This Zenith reminded me of one that my grandparents used to own. And here's an old RCA radio. This Panasonic has TV band, now useless since the digital conversion. Here's a rack of stereo gear, but not exactly thrift store prices. This vertical linear tracking turntable looks interesting, but several problems were listed on the description. Here's an old Finola Hi-Fi, a little too old for my taste. Same with this Philco AM radio. I like analog VU meters like on this Akai, but I own enough cassette decks. Do any teachers still use overhead projectors? There were several old arcade video games. That's cool, but not something I could fit in my car, so I left Heritage Antiques empty-handed. Next up, Habitat for Humanity Restore at 902 13th Street. Unlike the location in Abilene, this store was entirely building supplies and tools with no multimedia or AV gear. Next up was Pickers Universe. This store had nice booths, air conditioning, and higher prices. I left here empty-handed as well. A long-time thrift store staple in Wichita Falls, Value Village at 717 Indiana Avenue, now has a closed sign out front. Peeking through the windows, it's now just an empty building. Such a shame. Next up is Birds of a Feather Vintage Market at 617 Ohio Avenue. Again, nice displays, and again, antique store prices. This stack of vinyl was interesting, but they wanted $3.50 each, and I couldn't find anything worth that price. Time for a break. La Michoacana had excellent tacos al pastor. Yum. Next up is the Faith Resale and Donation Center at 4502 Old Jacksboro Highway. CDs were 49 cents, DVDs just 99 cents, and there were a lot of them scattered about. I've never heard of the movie Striker, but it looks like some B-movie goodness on Blu-ray. Here's a fun Christmas CD. This DVD has Beatles music, so I will grab it. And here's a Pearl Jam DVD. I'll grab this one too. This is a popular soundtrack, and this CD might be interesting too. The wrong CD is in this Eva Cassidy case. Vinyl was only 10 cents, but I couldn't find any that I wanted. Likely picked over by the Alley Cat vendor. They had several computer monitors marked down to 99 cents. I grabbed 2 of them. Here's my haul from Faith Resale. On my way out of town, I drove by St. Vincent de Paul thrift store, but they must keep different hours than the one in Abilene. They were closed. This thrift trip certainly featured a lot more media than hardware, but that's okay. I have a lot of stuff to watch and listen to now. As far as shooting on the IDV camera, the shakiest shots you saw that looked the funniest, well, they came from this camera, even after I applied image stabilization in post-production. So I cannot really recommend this camera as a wearable camera for shooting video. If you enjoyed this video, I have other thrifting videos in my archive you can watch. Thank you to my patrons for supporting this channel, and remember, stay thrifty, everyone.